folks, welcome back to another scintillating episode of Friends Journeys. And we are going to go ahead and start off with Dano. Yes, you've seen a lot of his decks, or decks that he's given to me to play, and now you're going to see him playing himself. We are starting off with Mudcrab Merchant. Read my lips, mouth paws. Considering what he's running, I was going to call that, absolutely, but you know, I'm a little behind as we are just jumping right into the fray here. Cloud Rest is going to allow for some good trades. Also a turn 4, a 4 cost. I'm pretty sure with what Dano's playing, this Battle Mage deck, very aggro-centric as you can tell, he is hoping that it does not get down to turn 9. If it does, he is going to be in some dire straits. And that's usually what you're doing with the Mudcrab Merchant. You're trying to get the cards that are going to give you the best advantage for the particular game that you're playing. Usually, it's more of an aggro deck. You're looking for more things that are going to silence and do some damage early on. Looks like he is up against Cafu77, who is running Dragon Archer, a deck that is near and dear to my heart, a deck that I like very much, but it is on the wrong side of the board as of right now. Looks like crabs are going to get the upper hand on dragons. That's something you don't see very often, particularly in Skyrim lore. But barring a tiny Dargon, or a couple tiny Dargons actually. And there we go, Tiny D. I summoned him by accident. Mea culpa, Dano. I am sorry. It seems that I have summoned him forward. As long as he doesn't have another one. Oh crap, don't be another one. Okay, alright. Just as bad, and dragons look like they're going to make a push of it. I think Dano's just going to keep going face here. He could Cloud Rest to trade to prevent Cafu from getting card draw. Looks like that is what he's going to do. Puts a 4-3 on the board, changes the board state, puts him in a good place. It's a great call. I wasn't sure, though. Sometimes it's hard-nosed aggro. You're just going face, face, face. Unless they got a drain or a guard on the board, you are just trying to get their health total down. Looks like, though, Dano has taken a pause to try to keep his board in a good say. I don't think he's too worried about the card draw. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I don't think that is first and foremost in his thoughts. I could... Okay, yep. And maybe Shrieking Harpy just to... Well, no, if you play Shrieking Harpy, it eats...
That was a mistake.
Yeah, I think what he wanted to do is play Shrieking Harpy there first, shackle the 4-5, and then 3-2 so it survives. The 4-5 is going to ping whatever he plays next. So probably Reflective Automaton. Oh, yep. And Dano confirming there what I was suspecting. Okay, so he is going to still play the Harpy. Harpy is going to eat 1 damage. To his credit, or I mean, there is some merit to that. If Cafu is sitting on a what the heck am I thinking? Leaf Lurker, or Finish Off, which looks like maybe Finish Off is, or he's going to ring out a Leaf Lurker. Yep. So had he reversed it, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Something was going to get pinged and Leaf Lurkered. But at least the Harpy would have still been on the board, I guess, is the key there. So is he going to Raiding Party? Okay, Reflective Automaton. I'm not entirely sure if this is the crab deck that I ran, in fact, to get Legendary a couple seasons ago. Having the Automaton is good there because it would enable the Alfiq. If it happens to come into play, he will count as an Atronach and allow the 7-5 to come down as opposed to the 5-3. But from the looks of things, he's got 4 reach in hand, 4, 5, 6, that he can actually play next turn. All he has to do, well, he does have to hit with both as things stand now currently in order to have lethal. 2 is just not enough. 3 is the magic number here for lethal on the next turn. Got another Finish Off. 4, 5, that's okay. There's going to go down to 7. Not going to be able to do it this turn. Thinking he's probably going to hold on to 1 Raider just in case he's able to pull another source of reach in the next turn or two. But we'll see. I think he's going to hit with the 2-3. Shackle the 4-5. Steel Sword. And at least Raiding Party. is my thought.
We press on.
Alright, we do have the raiding party. He may want to hold on to all the weaponry he has just for that last bit of reach. If he equips it, he will break that final rune, which he may not want to do. Hard to say here. This is where there's a lot that I can learn as I'm watching to see how he handles this. Is he just going to get him down to 6 and call it good? Knowing that he's got... Oh, no, okay, he is going to make that push down to 3. Almost able to close the game out. Relentless Raider eats a little bit, but of course, I think he may have played that just, if nothing else, to protect the Harpy. With both of those on the board, it pretty much means any card he plays that is, well, even if it's 2 health, it just dies immediately. Obviously now only 1 health is liability, but even then, you have to suspect that with all those cards in hand, Cafu does have another finish off or Leaf Lurker. And that'll do it. The douche will do it for lethal. Well done, Dano. Relatively fast. Oh. I don't know if Cafu's saying that ironically, just being a good sport, or he must have. He had to see the writing on the wall. I'm guessing these two have met before. Cafu being legendary 155. Dano currently at rank 1, but as I've seen, I think I talked to him not too long ago, and in last season, and he was at rank 4 or 5, and next thing I knew, he was at legendary, well above me, and stayed well above me the entire season. Dano let me know just before the game started he actually is recovering from pretty severe illness, some nasty coughing and sniffling, which, you know, is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it really makes every single thing you do a heck of a lot less enjoyable. I mean, even sleeping, which, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to enjoy sleeping, it makes that miserable too. So he is kind of recovering from that, bouncing back from that, which is probably why we are seeing him at rank 1 as opposed to legendary right off the jump. And he did say that he is doing this for the Mobilize. He's running this particular deck for a quest fulfillment for Mobilize. So that's why we're seeing what we see. Although again, does anybody need an excuse to run Dano's Crabs? You know, I mean, I would say not. I would say that's just the deck you want to run in general. Although it looks like with Acid Storm and Pog, I'm not sure, honestly, Pog, I haven't really come across that. You know, we got Friends, we got MPO, which I, you know, familiar with those. We got AZZ, and we've got anti-NPO. But I'm not entirely sure what POG stands for or what it's all about. It doesn't matter right now. It is kind of standing in the way of furthering the success. Mudcrab Merchant, what is he going to give us here? Echo of Akatosh, Awaken Imperfect. Echo is going to be able to come down sooner, but I don't know if he wants to give his opponent something that is going to be hard for him to remove that's going to give out keywords. Echo of Akatosh is Dragon Mundus Stone. It's like if the dragon crapped out. It's the dragon that actually craps out the Mundus Stone, is what it is. You know, the Echo of Akatosh gets some indigestion, and out comes the Mundus Stone. So yeah, he decided to keep Echo of Akatosh, which I personally, you know, in my limited knowledge, would say that's ideal. Is he really good? Okay, so the douche is going to come down and take out the Mudcrab Merchant. A civilian. I got to question the utilage of the douche in that particular case. All right, so we can Steel Dagger, Wardcraft to survive, or he can go out and feet down. It looks like that is what he's going to do, which will allow the trade with the douche. At least as it stands now. Now, again, we have to remember Acid Storm is sitting on that 8-cost 8/8 with Breakthrough.
They're in my...
And the only reason that's important is because that could possibly be
We must protect our strong.
And another douche! Another ping! Good gravy. The douche giveth, the douche taketh away. Last game, it was the instrument of victory, and in this particular match, he has proven to be ridiculously prevalent. You know, in a 3-attribute deck, you really don't expect to see 2 of the same card back to back. It's just one of the cruelties of the game. Okay, chooses... okay, so he puts the 3/2 down. Not only it allows a trade just as the steel dagger would have, but he puts a 3/2 on the board instead of just a 1/1, so or a 1/1/0. So again, retroactively reasoning why that was done, and it certainly makes sense. Again, if you're aggro, if you're trying to push as much damage as possible, she's a much better choice than just a dagger. Dano commenting that it does not look good. I have to agree. The only thing I would say, though, is that Acid Storm also does not have many cards in hand. It looks like Dano's going to give him quite a few. Looks like what? I don't know. Can't do the math. Not going to do that. Oh, no. First Rune Prophecy. That is horrendous. I mean, it does spare breaking an extra rune there and risking another prophecy. We don't know if Acid Storm is running a ton of prophecies or if he just happened to get really lucky on that first one. But it does allow him to clear the board. He now has card advantage and board advantage. And that's how fast it... Oh, and then to Fell the Mighty to clear the board completely. So we went from looking tentative, not great, to suddenly this is just not great. I was going to say Dano probably going to hold on to those. He wants the rune broken. He wants those cards, I would imagine. Oh my gosh, this is one of those games where you just go, hey, the game does not want me to win this one. I'm not entirely sure why my pronunciation, my ability to articulate is completely crap right now, but just have to push on through until it improves. The problem is right now Acid Storm could pivot to aggressive and could probably get away with it. Don't know if he sees that or not, but sitting on that 8/8 with breakthrough, I mean, he could really put Dano a bad space. He is going to hold off and allowing Dano to get a little bit of mobilize value there. Gets the breakthrough, gets him down to 15. Is he going to use that last lightning bolt? It won't break a rune. I don't know. I'm still trying to learn the etiquette. I mean, when I was first starting, I do whatever damage I could possibly do with the magic I have, but I've seen more games where that is not the case, where people hold on to that lightning bolt. I don't know if it's for, to use as a last-ditch defense or exactly what. I'm not questioning the wisdom of it, just trying to understand or just admitting that I'm not entirely sure.
By Arcade's being, stay back.
Why? Okay, so he is going to use it there, and he did, as we saw in the comments there. Looks like he is going to have to go for sustenance.
I hate this crowd.
Weak, so weak. Kidding, of course. Dano, appreciate you playing a couple games for us here. And it looks like, unfortunately, we will see. I mean, if Acid Storm doesn't push on this turn, I would be surprised. Maybe he's trying to just do one turn lethal. Okay, no, he does. Oh, he does risk it, and honestly, folks, that is why you typically don't. But Acid Storm does know both lightning bolts have been used. He was able to banish one with the Grummite. I mean, Dano getting the prophecies, but they're just not going to be enough. There's too much aligned against him. Does he have? Oh my goodness gracious! This has just been a prophecy. I mean, he could actually, in theory, with
We'll see how they like someone.
Okay, so he's daring Acid Storm. Hey, break that last rune. No, he's not going to do it. Oh, he's going to come up one short. Oh my goodness gracious. So close. Oh, so close despite the game going. Wow. Yeah, Dano says pain, and I feel it too. One off.
That was a mistake. Sorry about that.
Wow. Wow. But let that be a lesson. That is why, as much as I personally, because of the way I play, I'm like, hey, if you've got 2-turn lethal, go for it. But that's why a lot of times people wait until that last turn when they have a full board and they've got lethal plus 5 or 10. Because if you get those prophecies, I mean, we saw he almost pulled that off. Wow. Good game, Dano. Good game. the douche almost was able to get you there. Alright, we're going to switch over to K Fluffy, who just joined in the fray. And he is up against one Chuck. So K Fluffy looks like he is running... I'm not entirely sure, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. I am seeing a Rehard Battle Mage that I've never seen before. That is some great alternate card art. Wow. I want that. Can we get this instead of Maple Shield, Bethesda, please? I would like a nifty Rehard Battle Mage. Alright, so, K Fluffy currently at 161. Probably not going to be there for much longer. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time I happen to queue into one of his games, he is sitting in the top 50, if not higher. As of right now, though, battling at Legendary, on his way to the top ranks against one Chuck, who is, I'm guessing, running a silence deck of some sort. We probably could expect to see some Deadly Draugr, the 7/7s, and, yep, the Conscription. And I'm not entirely sure what to call K Fluffy's particular deck. Like I said, though, it's great because we're seeing combinations of cards that you don't typically see often. You've seen it done well. Yes! Hey! Oh my gosh, I'm vindicated! Well, not vindicated, but it's great. I was afraid that I was going to look like a chump, but that actually is the card that I was trying to describe moments ago. What is that called? It's not Deadly Draugr. It's Imprisoned Deathlord. But it looks like it is going to be all academic because K Fluffy is just going... Peace! It looks like he's going to close out this game before one Chuck can really get any kind of momentum going, even if he's able to strike with the 5/4. In theory, putting a weapon on it versus it being silenced. Yep. Now, let's see. I mean, with Swift Strike and Crushing Blow and the Magicka for both. Okay, and one Chuck must have sensed the winds, must have known and realized what he was up against. I'm not sure. Maybe he did the math, but did a concession. I don't know if you could call that concede efficiency. I mean, technically it is. He saved himself a good 4 seconds as K Fluffy was figuring out exactly how to end the game there. We're queuing in for our second K Fluffy game to see what exactly he is going to do. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of the deck and see what combinations he's running there. As the first one, I think it was, what, turn 6? I mean, I know it was all of, 20 seconds ago, but I've already forgotten exactly the scope of the game. Okay, so Swift Strike, he had the alternate art for one of them, but I guess maybe not all three. That's an interesting thing. I might have to ask him about that. We've got some intrigue here. Maybe just do that for, for keeping the deck, for mixing things up.
You can trust me.
All right, so Ex-Assassin looks like running a very heavy aggro, low to the ground list. K Fluffy is going to essentially say, hey, let's race. And we will see who prevails. Hard to say at this point. Obviously, Ex-Assassin X. I don't know if we should say the X before and after, or if that's just kind of to say, hey, what lies between is important. So we'll just say Assassin. We'll just say Assassin because Ex-Assassin just sounds weird. It's like, who wants to talk about an Ex-Assassin?
Our foes will have nightmares about me.
All right, he is going to be able to hit for 2. So I wonder if this is the what I call it, like the Gatling Assassin, where it's just a whole bunch of, every card is either a direct hit or an action that pretty much ignores the board and just goes for face. Okay, alrighty. Interesting. Wow, see, this is great. Pay attention, folks. That's just something, in my mind, I get very single-minded, and I go, hey, I'm just going to race. I'm racing. He says, I'm going to go ahead and take the trade. That's a 2-for-1 no matter which way you slice it. Unless Assassin hits him with a Firebolt, which that doesn't do any damage to face, so I'm guessing he's not running those. So now he has to decide whether or not he's going to trade with it. And because of that lane shift, he's able to buff up the Minotaur in order to enable that 2-for-1 trade. Looks like Assassin will have none of that. He does have life advantage, which he's getting even more. Again, yeah, this is definitely the Gatling Gun Assassin. So he's going to have lightning bolts, all kinds of shenanigans. That is a huge tempo swing right there. I like to see Rehad Battle Mage. I do like the card. I know I've heard it's technically not all that great. I think we might see Illicit come out. Perhaps? No? No? Okay.
Keep your distance.
Taking out the 2-1. Alright, life total is essentially comparable. Assassin probably can't... Well, I would be very surprised if with 5 Magicka, Assassin could actually close it out. Let's just be honest, that's impossible. Okay, Fluffy, though, let's see, sitting on 12, 15, with Swift Strike, lethal. And actually, he's got 6 next turn, so really, 9, Swift Strike, puts him at 15. Yeah, so he has lethal just in the Shadow Lane, so it doesn't matter what happens in the field lane. If his Shadow Lane survives and is untouched or unguarded, he just wins next turn, barring a Crazy Prophecy. We'll see how Assassin responds. Guessing he's going to find a way to get rid of... Okay, no, he is going to meander into the Shadow Lane. Says, I don't like what I see going over here. I suspect shenanigans. And he's going to take out the 6-3. Similar to what we saw K Fluffy do there, where he's using the lane change in order to buff up the cards to enable a trade. And it looks like K Fluffy's going to be left with just a 3-2 on the board if Assassin plays out the way it looks like he's... And of course his Mournhold Trader will survive the trade, leaving him with a 5-5 on board.
Surprise!
No! No, he had the right idea, but he went for the last ping and is going to, barring a prophecy, K Fluffy is going to come away with this one. Well done. Wow. Again, keep this in mind, folks. Never underestimate. No. Never underestimate. Oh, I didn't see. Shoot. Oh, I feel like a complete moron. I guess he had 2 of them. Could have finished off with a crushing blow after hitting with 3-2, but either way, he had lethal multiple ways. Assassin probably was debating that option, whether or not he wanted to make that trade. He deliberated for a while and decided he was going to go for it, to his detriment. Up next, we have Mark, Marxist for Life, who is up against Boyd Crowder. I remember the name. I've seen the name before. Running Battle Mage of some kind, hoping it is not Invade, expecting it's not the case, as he is number 27. And Mark at 30, as we expected. Mark already, shortly before middle of the season, he is already vying for that coveted top 10 spot. He's been going at it. Really hoping he's able to push through today. Well, not today, but this season. Well, I mean, yes, today. Why not today? But certainly, definitely on this season. He did let me know. He sent me the decks list just a minute ago. Said he came up with this not too long ago, just a few minutes ago, or earlier on in the day. Okay, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure when he came up with this, but it's a recent concoction, and he said it's been doing very well. So I am looking forward to see how it performs. Of course, you never know how things are going to go, but I do like the sound of it. I do like seeing just a variety. I know Mark's, kind of his bread and butter is typically the Empire control. So it's always just great to see players branching out, playing a bunch of different things. He has sent me veteran list before. So it is certainly, he's not just a one deck wonder there, but interested to see. I'm not entirely sure what the composition of this deck is or what it's going for. It does not appear to be a rally or a hand buff. So yeah, we'll just see. It may just be a really solid mid-range, or we're seeing in Dawn's Wrath, so it could be more of a control-oriented deck. But we'll see how it stacks up against Boyd Crowder's Battle Mage. It's funny too, if you watch enough videos, especially from the old school days, people would just call a deck like what is she, I don't remember what she's called.
Careful there, friend.
Flameslinger. The Flameslinger Battle Mage, and it's like just because they played one card of a specific type in the deck, they would call the entire deck. So, it's a Flameslinger grenade. Goodness gracious. My mouth is not working today. I do apologize. I think it was a mistake wearing the tie. It's clearly cutting off the blood flow to my brain. Let's go ahead and focus here. Alternate art. Shadowfen really do want that. Hey, all right, and we've got a... What am I doing here? Oh, I'm spilling blood on the board. My apologies. Mea culpa. thwarts Boyd's Crowder bid for breaking that, getting another 2 hits in. Plays a prophecy of his own. I'm not entirely sure if you could call this a prophecy battle mage, because we're only seeing one prophecy on the board at a time. Oh my goodness gracious! I can't remember this fellow's name. It's been a long time since I've seen him. False Incarnate denies drain, but eats it thanks to okay. And Boyd Crowder is going to resign. All right, we're in a bit of an interlude here. We are jumping into. I just saw Carbon 77 was playing. Wanted to go ahead and take a look at what's going on. We seem to be in the thick of things. We do have a Wojau. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm going to just call him 44. So 44 against Carbon 77. And they're in the thick of things. This is not a typical Telvanni match. I'm not entirely sure what brought us to this point, how long the game's been going on. But we do have a Telvanni that was clearly willing to break at least one rune. So this is not a pure standoff deck. And with the Tazcad coming down, this is clearly a pivoting Telvanni, at least to my mind. Although, I don't know, Cruel Fire Bloom, that whole combination thing, that's at least mid-range, certainly, if not control. But Carbon 77 is running Drain, which is going to be very helpful here. Just have to hope that 44 does not have a silence effect, which in these colors, pretty likely, Shadow Fen, Sorcerer's Negation, things of that nature, is going to knock it down. I mean, in a foot race, we've come into a race here, and 44's ability to be able to drain is going to, or with the amulet, for every card he loses, he's going to be able to gain some life. It is going to make it a tough race, especially now.
The hist heals and rejuvenates.
Essentially, 44 has the board advantage, at least momentarily. Belligerent Giant's going to come down, probably boot the Distiller. No, he's going to get rid of the... Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, okay, he does. But he does it in a roundabout way. He does it in a much smarter way, gets rid of the support so that 44 is not having that drain dynamic going on, or that healing dynamic going on, and also getting rid of the Distiller. Distiller will come down next turn, but right now it's all about pacing, it's all about tempo, and that could very well, playing the Distiller, even though it's a 1 cost, it's not helping him this turn. And the Harpy, a huge prophecy here. Pinning down the 4/4. I mean, we stumbled right into a nail biter. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch the beginning, but we are catching the tail end, which is some good drama right here, especially if there's no answer for that 7/4. If there's no way to shackle it, remove it, silence it, etc. Looks like Carbon 77 is going to pull off a victory over Telvanni. The pause seems to indicate that he is his opponent is without an answer to the current board state. Altar of Despair seems to be appropriate, as Despair would be my particular feeling, seeing the board as it is. 5/5, there's no Ice Storm, there's no possibility, no hope. Let's see. Especially with the Piercing Javelin, I think Carbon 77's got this locked down. I'm not sure if there's a prophecy in existence that could save him, considering how many cards he has on both sides. And he is going to finish it off. Well done, Carbon 77. Happy I was able to queue into it. I know I do try to catch games in their fullness at the beginning, but if we happen to queue into one that's very close at the very end, you get kind of all the good stuff without having to go through the initial back and forth of the early game. All right, and we are back with another game against Assassin. This time, Kestrel is our... is who we're following in this match. So we're a little bit familiar with what Assassin is playing, with what Assassin is doing. We saw not long ago K Fluffy being able to take the upper hand, despite the board state. Assassin making the decision to go for face instead of making the trade, which ultimately ended up being his downfall. We'll see how, if that factors into this game at all, or if he's just, I'm going face. Good to see Kestrel in the mix, down to 42, so clearly he has won some matches since the last time we saw him. He was just under 50 yesterday or the day before, and he'd gone up, I think, just over 50 when we last left him, but he is going at it right now. Looks like he's going to make that trade. Heck of a swing. not willing to break a rune. It looks like he sees that he is essentially in this moment anyway right now, or at this time, he is kind of on the defensive. He does not yet have... Well, I mean, he has the board advantage at this point, clearly, but he is mid-range, and mid-range has the capability of slowing it down, taking the foot off the gas, and slowing down to essentially starve his opponent on the cards. Assassin is sitting on a ton of cards, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are all steel steel daggers and steel swords. He only has 2 cards that are actual playable cards, and it looks like Kestrel's patience is going to pay off here with Wardcrafter and Piercing Javelin. He can get rid of pretty much the entire board and hit for 8 if he so chooses. We'll see if he decides to pivot. Cradle Crush might... Yep, Cradle Crush is going to come down. And the 2/3 health of the Pyromancer is going to allow it to survive. And yeah, he is going to pivot. Oh, he is punished with a Prophecy as soon as he gets 2 prophecies. Wow, that is some ugly punishment for getting into it. And Assassin just, I'm gonna hit your face some more. Unstoppable Rage not going to be a factor. Hail Feet Conjurer probably not either. Assassin, it really depends. Again, got 3 cards to play.
Nicely done.
How many of them will be removal or attempted removal? He put the Lightning Bolt to face, so clearly he's going to try to make a final push. I think he realizes there's nothing else he can do. He's going to get close, though. He's going to get within 2. Oh, no! Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, it's right there in front of my face, and I totally missed it. He had all that reach in hand and was just able to close it out. Wow. I feel like a schmuck. I do apologize. It was right there. I wasn't paying attention to the cards that were clearly in his hand. It wasn't like I had to guess. All right, queuing back into Mark. And Immolating Blast was the card I was trying to think of last time. Not that it matters for anything. Okay, we are going to be... Thank you, Mark. Thank you. That is the appropriate thing. When you see Invade come down, if you do not concede, obviously that is an option that I prefer. Saying well done, congratulating your opponent on playing a broken deck. This is not a top 100 player, at least at this point. They are just rank 1, seeming to make their climb. Jianji. Hopefully Jianji is a new player to the game and is just now starting to get a feel for it, thinks that doesn't realize how ridiculous Invade is. But we're not going to bash on Invade. We're just going to watch Mark and hope he can prevail against the nefarious beings of Oblivion. Poke, he says to the gate, and down goes the gate. A good start, a very good start. Obviously Invade, part of its, especially when it's running willpower, and therefore Invasion Party, it can swing back into a heavy Invade. Persistent little bastards, those gates. I'm guessing Mark is running some executes, if not the cannibalistic
A little distraction might prove
pastry chef guys. Totally don't know their name. Gourmet Chef. No, Grizzly Gourmet, that's the name of it. Hot Dog, I'm on fire today. And Fuego. I can remember the names of certain cards. 3/4 will have a favorable trade with Galen. I always said Galen, but if you look at the way it's spelled, it's Gallon. Looks like Gallon anyway. So I'm not sure what the official lore, what the official canon pronunciation is, but apparently it's... I don't know that it's Galen. And as we saw, my words unfortunately coming true, plenty of ways to ramp the gate, even with only 5 cards, 5-6 cards in hand. The synergy is part of what makes the deck so broken. No other mechanic really has that kind of synergy. But I've said that a million times. Let's focus on the game at hand. 7/6, beefy, Cloudrest Illusionist. Not, is it? Am I getting the name right? My brain's not working. Cloudrest Illusion. Okay. I'm getting used to the suit. I haven't worn this since I was in high school. Not this particular suit, but wearing suits in general. Wore them up through sophomore year in college. But that's neither here nor there. Expecting to see at least two invasion enabling cards played out on this turn. whether by accident or just by virtue of how he needs to play it, Mark is not giving
For the glory of
Invade
Lost
any
Almerians.
cards. Aren has aligned herself with the Forces of Oblivion. Actually, there's some good synergy there with a lot of the action cards, like Unexpected Arrival, that puts a card on the board, also triggers the gate, and now we are getting one keyword per draw. Mark is going to need to get rid of that gate as soon as possible, because next turn it's almost a sure thing that the next cards are going to start coming down with multiple keywords. Does not want to break a rune here, I don't think. Doesn't want to give him any more cards, because right now, even if he can trigger the gate, even if Jianji can trigger the gate a little bit more, doesn't have a whole lot of cards you can play to get all the keywords. If he breaks a rune, though, same for his hand. Mark, obviously, much savvier player than myself, sees that and is taking a more cautious route. He won't be able to remove the gate on this turn. Hopefully next turn. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, unless he'd have to have a significant buff. Dawn Fang is Dawn Fang. I don't play it enough to see. So right now it's a 0-3. I think next turn it would be a 3-0, which would enable a trade were it not for the gate having the ward on it. Those pesky 3/5s
No match at all.
always seem to come down at the wrong time. And oh goodness gracious. Unfortunately, I think we are going to see Invade do Invade. I mean, that's
For old Almerius.
a good combo with the... I mean, she's like the younger sister of the Oreo gal. Shining Saint doesn't get as much play, but certainly if you're running an Invade list, she's good. You know, I think I would love to see just a Daedra tribal deck, you know, with training grounds and things, where you make use of some of the Daedra without employing that, but it looks like, unfortunately... and there's the invasion party. And we're just going to have to chalk this one up to Invade doing Invade.
A taste of your Dagon.
I mean, Belly G comes down next turn, can punt the gate, but unfortunately there's too much damage on the board. And Mark at 26. Hopefully he doesn't lose too many ranks off of this one. If the game has any charity whatsoever, it'll acknowledge exactly what's happened here and rank him accordingly.
Done for.
But mea culpa, sir. All right, so we're queuing into a K Fluffy game. It doesn't look great. 9-19 against what looks like a pivoting tribunal deck. But I wanted to go ahead and stick with this to see what we can see, because I don't think, even though he is down, he is not out. K Fluffy, we may actually see a heck of a comeback here. I think it's very possible. And so we're just going to go ahead and see what is going to happen with the situation. Does have Swift Strike, which he may... Well, he's not going to be able to get rid of...
I ride like the wind.
What's her name? The annoying gal from Skyrim. What is she called? Lydia. There you go. Lydia. You don't see her very often. Siege of Strauss Mackay. Okay, so this was a Tribunal Singleton deck that we saw. If Mushroom Tower doesn't come out, I don't know that it'll be enough to help. That's pretty big. I don't know why. Oh, Mundus Stone. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, this is just seepage. Seepage being thrown onto the board here. Okay, that may just do it. Not entirely sure why he doesn't give the Dawnbreaker to Lydia, let her hit, get the board down to 2. But we're going to play what we can play. K Fluffy, not enough to close it out right now, but certainly would be able to do it next turn. Underworld Vigilante and Swift Strike alone is going to be enough to do it, so even if the board state changes, he loses everything, he's still going to be able to close this out. So we are going to see a 9-19 swing, unless I am horribly mistaken. I'm going to be embarrassed by
I'll keep a lookout.
Kenekai 5. Admittedly, I did not factor in if he could guard up both lanes, which was foolish because this is ostensibly at least, a control deck, so should have expected to see some control. But if he is not able to guard both lanes right now, the curse and the 3/1 is enough to clear up the field lane
You can tell them you thought of
or the shadow lane. Oh, charge on the 4/3. That's actually okay. No, well, actually, no, it's not.
You're so sweet. I could just eat you
Okay,
up.
even if the Grizzly Gourmet was able to get
by your orders.
charge, it wouldn't have changed things. So it looks like K Fluffy is in fact going to pull this one out.
There's nowhere they can hide.
And she goes, and Swift Strike on the 3/1 closes out the game 9-19. Down but not out. Never lose heart, never surrender. I think that's a Galaxy Quest quote. I'm not trying to plagiarize that. Take it as you will. Well done, K Fluffy. Queuing into another K Fluffy match. I'm trying to keep things as mixed up as possible, but the thing is, once you find a particular player and you kind of get in the rhythm of it, typically it's easier to follow their games and come in at the very beginning of them, whereas there are 3 other folks kind of mixing it up right now, but I would be coming in at different phases of the game. So as long as we can find somebody and kind of ride with them on their gaming quests, I'll kind of stick with it. I do want to be able to switch things up when possible, but right now it's just more expedient to stick with one player. And I mean, who better to kind of ride along with than K Fluffy as we see him rise in the rankings. Still running the Archer deck that I still am not entirely sure. I think it's just a really solid mid-range build. I mean, we're seeing, Illicit Butcher. This is not a Shackle deck. This is not a Consume deck necessarily. I mean, it's just great to see cards that don't necessarily get played outside of their type, or it gets played outside of the theme. Here, I'm guessing. Okay, all right. Just gonna use Circle Initiate's Death, avenge the Circle Initiate by shackling down the 3/4. So the 3/4, based on my understanding, that means the Rygonian is running a mid to probably control Guildsworn list. And there's Giggles! Hello, Giggles! Definitely a formidable board, considering that K Fluffy's deck is undeniably aggro in nature. There's going to be a lot of stuff he's going to need to figure out how to sort through. Obviously 3/3 drain. Giggles is a 2 drain. We've seen, I've lost games leaving Giggles on the board. Equip the dagger on the 5/3. And yeah, Cliff Racer comes down there, keeping the board state favorable. Giggle's not going to be able to trade with a 5/3 unless she gets some kind of weapon buff. Otherwise, it's going to be the 3/3 making the trade. Gets that off the board. Puts Rygonian up to 19. Oh, that was pretty much worst case scenario. Allows Giggles to heal for 2 and wipes out the current board. Okay, all right. Afflicted Lit in the shadow lane. I got to work on my pauses here because I don't want to sound like this all the time. Sorry. I'm working it out. I'm working out the commentary. Just give me a little breathing room here. Back up off me. All right, so 3/1. I'm just always wondered, it's why in the shadow lane, I guess to slay Giggles. Although no, Murkwater Scourge wouldn't do it. All right, so the bittersweet impact of Varen Aquilarius. What the heck, man? Take off a few syllables. Varen. So Rygonian will not get any card draw as long as Varen is on the board, but he also will not. He will also be able to heal with every rune break. So we'll see. Okay, Fluffy decides to take out Varen to avoid the drain. Of course, the lover of Oreos is in play here. If she's got a Dawnbreaker, that could start becoming a problem. But again, K Fluffy's got a ton of reach in hand. He's got 7.
Close ranks. Let nothing through.
7 that 7 damage he's able to play. Unfortunately, he needs more than that. Swift Strike is going to be great. I don't know. Could use it against the... Could hit the Gatekeeper. Swift Strike. Hit the 3/6. Nope. Okay. Interesting. Interested to see what he does here, because he can't take the 3/6 off the board. Now the 3/6 does not favorably trade with the 4/4.
There's nowhere they can hide.
All right, just pushing in. 5 damage there. He current board state does not have lethal. It's really coming down to it. This is a bit of a juggling match. We'll see how he sorts this out. I would be at a bit of a loss. This is when I'd be kind of doing this thing, going, oh boy, it looks like we lost this one. But I am not K Fluffy, so we shall see what's happened. And that's certainly not me saying that there was any misplays or anything like that. It's just simply saying, it's one of those things where you seem to kind of be running. And this is a Swift Strike, so this is the alt art. It's another Gatekeeper. We see him with on a few different forms of card art. I'm guessing this was a rejected version of Gatekeeper, maybe? But we see something very similar with Crushing Blow, the alternate art Crushing Blow. It's this giant, half-naked dude with a big, weird club hand thing striking somebody down. So who knows? So I don't blame K Fluffy for running the other version of Swift Strike. The little kitty with the claws out. Looks pretty good. He's going to take the 3/1. He's going to take the curse to get rid of the 3/1, which will give K Fluffy a curse, but right now that's not incredibly helpful. But Swift Strike, game over. No! Oh boy. Channel Storm at the last minute. Fortunately, in order to drain, he is going to have to hit K Fluffy for 3 and give him a card. And with that Swift Strike and Steel Scimitar specifically in hand, there's any number of draws he could get that will bring about a victory. Worst thing that could happen right now is that 3/2 getting a buff of some kind, like I said, Dawnbreaker or something of that nature. Card in Shadow Lane, not great for anything against. All right, so he's got guards in both lanes. I don't know what. Oh, he's got Breakthrough. So I mean, he's got what he needs.
I am ready to join this circle.
Initiate with all the runes broken. She is a sad, sad, sad initiate. It's going to be close. Rygonian's going to be feeding the beast, going to be giving him possible options and opportunities. Stone Throw will get rid of Tyr if he puts the Steel Scimitar. Pretty much if the initial, 17 health. I'm not looking at all the factors on the board again. Little shaky here. 17 health is going to be a lot to come back from.
You'll not be rid
Looks
of me
like
that
Rygonian may have been able to make that swing. It's just too much drain on the board. The bitter empathizer in me says, yeah, that seems to be how it goes. 3 attribute card, and you've got, 3 Oreo Eaters? 2 or 3 Oreo Eaters in the past 2 turns, but all tied up now. I mean, Stone Throw will get rid of Tyr, but it's just too much of a board, I think. But we'll see what happens. So Daggett Dagger, Steel Scimitar bumps her up to a 6, something or other. She can Stone Throw on Tyr and Oreo Gal. Let's see, that's 6, 7, 8. And she could also Swift Strike. Alright, so let's see what he does here. Looks like that'll do 12 damage, gets him down to 5.
See you in the next.
8, 9, 10, 12. Okay, he decides to take out the 3/4. Okay, because he can favorably trade with the 3/3. And he's holding on to the Swift Strike. Okay. I think he's, obviously knowing that he can't have lethal there, he's hoping, I'm guessing, to get either a charge creature or a weapon that he can affix to the initiate and hope she survives this turn, we could see a miraculous comeback here, a miraculous turnaround. Definitely the odds are against it, but any given, what's today? Thursday. Another brigand. It's a brigand, right? Viper brigand, I believe. No, the douche! The douche, you treacherous turd muffin! Oh. Great Viper brigand. And K Fluffy with the conceit efficiency there. Alrighty, here we are coming in again in medias res. I do apologize. I do want to see. I mean, this is kind of where the rubber meets the road. You all can let me know if you're like, hey, we don't want to see partial games. Give us an entire game. But I mean, the game isn't really halfway over. Kestrel still has 17, so it's not. It's certainly not over at this point. A Ross, it looks like Ross. A Ross. Oh, yep. And we have a slight misplay there. Wanted to put the Pyromancer down before the Harpy to avoid, killing her, but as I said in the last video, it happens to the best of us. Everybody can make a mistake. This game may close out about as soon as you might expect coming in with the score the way it is, but wanted to at least take a peek in here. You know what? I was going to call it there. We're going to stick with this just for a few minutes, just to see if Kestrel can pull out a win here against all odds. I mean, that's what you want to see. The odds are stacked against him, but it's certainly not over. He is not, up against overwhelming forces. He does have Varen, which, as we saw, in the last game, was deployed to great effect, and it will ensure that any rune break from here, unless Varen is eliminated or silenced, which is not possible in mono blue. I mean, he could be electrified with a lightning bolt and removed with 3/2. Other than that, there is no silence effects in pure intelligence. Well, no, I take that back. There is
I can't stand
slice and dice. What is that one called? The backstabby stab. The neutral card. That is essentially a silence card. Okay, that's a brutal Ashlander alternate art. Very spiffy, very nice. Doesn't have the boots with the giant fins on them. It's a very peculiar bit of art there. And Varen may just allow Kestrel to come back into this game. Breakthrough, drawing more cards. Again, really not... his problem right now isn't with the card draw. I'm guessing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. All right. Fortunately, opponent won't be able to break that last rune, so he's not going to overdraw. And to be noted, he is up against a top 10 player. A-Ross or I-Ross, NPO, has reached and maintained rank 10, as is evidenced by the spiffy card back. So Kestrel has definitely got his work cut out for him. Has to break 5 runes to get. There's 5 runes staying between him and victory here. In addition to all the other cards that can be played. Hey, eats a 7/4. That's better than it going to his face. Lapook. Lyneth is a great pull here. Going to be able to bring back, I'm guessing, a drain creature. Probably the little demonic guy with the green, with the glowing eyes. Looks like a really angry, goofy puppy thing. The 4/1 that when you play Rage on it is going to give you a bunch of health back, which is really what he's in need of at the moment. Glad we decided to stick with the game. And this, it's a lesson for me too. How many times have I conceded? And I'm sure many of you have gone, what are you doing? The game isn't over. I would like to think that when I concede, it's written on the wall. For a moment, I thought it was with Kestrel here, but it's like, you know what? Down but not out. And we'll just see if he can make this comeback. Again, we're seeing a lot of alternate card art today. Belligerent Giant. Anybody who has played Skyrim, you know that scene very, very well. Giant running after you. Takes one hit and you flail in the air like a rag doll. Actually, it's literally ragdoll physics, so it's good. Interesting if A-Ross is playing all of this into the field lane. Maybe she's just being cautious and understanding that he has full reach in him, but he's unstoppable rage. I think we're going to see Dying Kestrel in a fantastic display of all kinds of rage. He can't tome in rage, but rage itself should do it. That's 4, 8, 12, 19, 23. He does have lethal. Barring a prophecy, he has lethal. No, I'm sorry. I'm a moron. Rewind all that. His rage would kill the 4/1. So he does not have lethal on the board, even with rage. But it does get rid of a lot of stuff. So I'm guessing he's debating between Unstoppable Rage maybe and just trying to clear the board, take out the 4/3, take out the 5/3, put down the Phalanx Exemplar, and live to fight another day. You could do a Phalanx Exemplar and the Tome. Wouldn't be the worst call in the world. For the flashiness, I'm hoping for Unstoppable Rage, but I don't know that that's the most prudent move. I will decide that it is if that's in fact what he does, because, it just seems to be the right thing to say. But clearly there are certainly other plays that he could do. I think he's really debating whether or not he wants to try to make that push all in one jump here, or if he's going to play it safe. Like I said, probably Phalanx and Tome. Or maybe he's... No, he is going to go for the Flashy Flash. Unstoppable Rage. And pulls within 3, completely shifting the board. If the 7/4 survives, obviously, he's got another Rage there, even if it's shackled. If it stays on board and stays unsilenced, runs away with the game. Even if not, we'll see what A-Roz can play to change the tide of things. Of course, not coming in late. Let's see. Does he have any of his lightning bolts left? Or have they all been played? He does have one lightning bolt left. Whether it's in his hand or not, I'm guessing if it was... Whoa, hey, stop blading down the board. Goodness gracious. If he does have it, I'm sure we'll see it. No, he does not have it, and wow. Kestrel taking the win. I mean, did you see that coming, considering the board state and the health totals for both? Way to pull that one off. Congratulations on a solid W, sir. All right, queuing into Carbon 77, another game. Our hero is on the back foot. I swear I'm not doing this. This is just great for drama. Down 26-6. We just saw Kestrel make a great comeback from a similar situation. Obviously, it's not exactly, but it's one of those things where it looks like Watch Your Step was on the aggressive, which is interesting. I wonder if he was running an Empire. Let's take a look at what's in the discard pile here. Okay, so this was Lockpick. Interesting. Looks like a very interesting Empire, either mid-range or aggro deck, and we certainly see the fruits of that manifested there in the life total for Carbon 77 on the back foot right now. But definitely in a place where he can pivot. Got a very strong board. Putting down a guard there. Obviously, with agility, there is the chance of a myriad of charges. I think Tazcad's the only one with breakthrough, so as long as you've got at least one guard in each lane,
Soldiers, form up.
you don't necessarily have to worry about Praetorian Commander. So maybe this was... No, I mean, with Oathman, the good old Oathman, I don't know. I can't really say. I'm not quite as familiar, but let's see. Does he have enough to do it this turn? 8, 11, 24, 5, 6, 7, and a lightning bolt. Looks like he is going to go for it. And we could see another incredible pivot. And there we go. He's got lethal 6 ways from Sunday. Well done, Carbon 77. You can't write them like this, folks. Congratulations. We're jumping back into another game with Carbon 77. Again, like I said, we're just we know he's kind of on a roll here, so we're just going to kind of piggyback and roll with him until he runs out of gas. Ideally, as we go along, I'm trying to set up scenarios where, in fact, I've got, I'm talking with Saint right now to try to schedule some time on a weekend where he can give me when he can play and I can catch him for 3 to 5 games, kind of schedule that in. That's kind of what I prefer to do. That way we're not just kind of sitting around waiting and hoping and coming in at the tail end of games. Giggles comes down for the Tribunal, laughing all the way. We'll see if she's laughing a couple turns from now. She seems undauntable
By the fires of
with
oblivion.
the magic wafting from her armpits. She's very jovial. Expecting to see the 3-4, not really trading, going face. That's the whole point, is to get those cards. It would be ironic if she... Oh, I thought it would be funny if you see the Palace Conspirator getting booted off of the 3-4. Oh, that's great. I kind of want to keep Crown Quartermaster because... Okay, all right.
Watch yourself.
That's what I meant to say. I was just thinking personally, just because of the dagger, it gives you something for her to discard, but he's obviously thinking bigger picture. Giggles is probably going to get first hit. Daggerfall, I don't really know. For a typical tribunal, they don't... I mean, you might see a gavel here and there, but not really a whole
Out
lot
of
of
my way,
ways to buff the boards. Hey, all right, we're seeing this guy. I have to say this guy because I've
Watch this.
never seen him played.
Schwaaard.
Taviar? Taviar is like caviar, but with a T. So Taviar, the knight. So his counterpart is right here. That gives the face ward like the magistrate, I think it is. The 5/4 warded gives ward. So obviously it's swapping the names around. It's pretty much Taviar backwards. Whatever. This is too much for my clearly addled brain. But it's just good to see that card getting play. I've played it on occasion just because I saw it, and I was like, hey, I never play this. But it's good to see it on a deck being played by a rank 2 character.
Schwaaard.
And giving reward again for that extra value. Now has two tomes in hand. Carbon in a bit of a situation here. Again, fortunately, I don't think... This is not a pure aggro deck, so he can afford to be stalled a little bit. It looks like he's in it for the race. A little bit tricky with Giggles still being on the board. I mean, that health gain, when you've got one side that can gain health and the other side you're just going for brute force, it can get kind of ugly, but that's not to say it certainly can't happen. He definitely has. He's got 8 in reach with Encano and the Courier.
Schwaaard.
Oh, and my mistake, I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that the Daggerfall Mage now has Drain thanks to Devour, I believe it was. So yeah, Carbon's gonna have a difficult time in the race. Oh, Royal Sage, not great at all, but holy cow, haven't seen that kind of value from Baron of Tyr in a long time. And that Channeled Storm is going to be able to wipe out. Yeah, it's going to do some damage. Giggles is going to go down. Leaves the 4/4 drain on the board, but that's about it. So with one fell turn. Carbon, we'll call him the Pivot Meister here because this is the second time now we've seen... Now, granted, the last time his back was against the wall, but this is the second time we've seen him just change the board state that quickly, which should give us all hope and also trepidation. Never think because you've got a nice board going, got some drain on there, that you're in a safe place, but also know that just because your opponent has that, you are down but not out. I said that twice now. Doesn't make it any less true. But I mean, they are pretty much even, and with Encano coming down next turn, it's going to pretty much even the score. Almost exactly, actually. In terms of life gain and
I'll get this.
well, no, his board is much more formidable. I'm thinking Encano hits the 4-1. We'll see. Does 17-17 tie it up now with a breakthrough though? It's going to get him down to 15. I'm very good at stating the obvious if you haven't noticed. And yeah, I think we're seeing why Tribunal does not usually try to compete, or does not try to joust, why it's more of a controlled deck. I mean, I think it certainly can. We're getting a bird's eye one-off view. Who knows how much, what can wait, we've seen this fella before, have we? I feel like, I don't know. Gosh, I'm horrible with names. So it comes down. I think that means he is going to gain 5 health, I believe. It's a long time. It's weird, it's great to see these random cards played, but sometimes you're just kind of like, are you kidding me? Royal Sage now is actually gonna, well, I was gonna say can get some value, but Actually, yeah.
Light of the
I see
Get
three.
a little,
of my
little something
wisdom.
there. Maybe she gets... No, okay. But, you know, barring... I want to say Inferno, but that's not the thing. Maybe they're gonna... Okay. I was thinking of... you know what I was thinking of. Goodness gracious. The board clear. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because there's not enough magic
There
to
are
play it.
worse
So it
days
doesn't
to
matter.
die.
Interesting. Boy, we are just seeing Ken is playing a lot of kind of uncommon cards here. I think Fingers of the Mountain and Sayoni might be enough with breakthrough, particularly in the right lane there. Gives that hits for 4. That's 8. Fingers of the Mountain. No, I can see him getting down to 3 as of right now, but I don't think there's a path to lethal as the board stands now, even with Fingers and the Courier. Might have to do Fingers, Courier. No, Fingers and Corner Club, I'm guessing. Pushes through. Gets him down to 4. One off lethal with
My
Courier.
pawns are quicker than your
Can I get rid
arrows.
of it? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I was off on all counts, but it looks like all's well that ends well. Ice Storm doesn't help. Immolating Blast, that was the name I was trying to think of. Immolating Blast doesn't do it either. Ryvar,
I do
I mean, it's
hope
not going
that
to do it
troublesome
as
knight
things
is
stand
around.
now. I don't think they can put in enough cards. Oh, Mechanical Art! Spoke too soon. Wow. That is going to probably... I don't know. I haven't done the math. We'll see. I don't think it'll prolong it. I think they've got enough. I can't remember the heart. Does it give you 6? I know it gives you another rune, but does it give you... to 10? All right, so he does have 8... 10, 13. He has 13 on the board, but now it's going to go up to an extra 10. And he's got 6, 9. So he's going to be one off lethal again. It would seem. And a prophecy off of the last rune. Ken is... his last gasps are fierce. And, yeah, unrelenting.
Eyes and ears.
Probably ditch the Breton. Don't make me a liar, Carbon. Let me have this one. Hey, there we go. Insight. I think that was a pretty obvious choice, but still. I think now he's debating, do I play my reach now? Well, he pretty much has to. He has to at least play the Courier down. Risks taking the hit on the Ice Storm, so he's going to give it to... Okay. Spreading it out a little bit. And the 6/5. It's great. You can play Corner Club without having to discard anything. It's always a good day. So even Dawn's Wrath does not forestall the inevitable. Although we've seen Ken has a very resourceful deck. There's Vivek. He could have a Vivek, and that would probably that would certainly allow him to stay alive. Is he really going to play Vivek? Because with 10 magic, he could do it. But he'd want to play him in the shadow lane, obviously. He couldn't be killed in the field lane as it stands now, but you just wouldn't want to risk it. Doesn't look like he has a Vivek. I think he realizes he is done. I'm not sure what he's playing. I mean, a Dark Seducer could do it. I don't think another guard.
Shall heal you.
It doesn't have breakthrough.
Messed with the wrong man.
I mean, not that's gonna. Yeah, he's got it. I don't know what I was talking about. Building up suspense, building up the drama. If you listen to me talk, you'd think he could still pull this out, but no, he's got lethal in the field lane. Easy peasy.
I am defeated.
There you go, Ken. Honorable surrender. Well done. And well done, Carbon 77. Another victory. En fuego! And it looks like our last match of the day is going to be Dano, returning once again after his brief hiatus. Hopefully he's gotten some good foods, nourished, ready to go, and he's fighting against Yoda. 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 Well, Yoda 202. I'm not sure if that's a birth year or exactly how that fits into the lore, but it could just be Yoda. But it's lowercase Yoda, so it's not a proper name. I'm guessing it's a species. Maybe there's a species called the Yodas. But anyway, we're seeing Dano. Hey, it's a mage deck, and it ain't invade, so I'm on board. Let's see exactly what it's going to be. Doesn't look like it's the classic mage for all of you old school folks. Mage used to be the big big support build. Most of the time when you saw mage, it was going to be a support oriented deck here. I'm thinking we've got a mid-range, solid mid-range going on here, and
Behold, my
Jack
magnificent monster.
of the Manic Persuasion with his Manic Mutations. Going down, saying, I am going to race you, Orc, which is a bold move. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see it. I'll play the video clip right here because I don't know that I can do the impression well enough. And that is the dream in this scenario. Manic Jack getting drained. That is some incredibly favorable RNG in this particular matchup. Yoda keeping pretty much this whole board alive. I mean, it's certainly not over. He has a very powerful, very powerful field lane. A little less powerful now, but that is 4 less than that Dano has to strike the face a little bit later on. But that drain, that 4/4 drain, I mean, hitting for 4, healing for 4 at the same time.
What help would you have from
Oh no! And we are actually seeing, this is the first time I've ever seen False Incarnate be relevant. We saw it played a few games ago, and it wasn't particularly relevant there, but it is relevant here as it is denying drain. You see that big X? I've actually never seen what it looks like when Incarnate, what is he? Not Incarnate. What did I say? False Incarnate. So he's the false me. I am Incarnate. I am Incarnate. Either way you want to pronounce it, that's me. He is my doppelganger. He is my counterfeit. Remove him, Dano. Remove him. He is an abomination to me. He's an insult to my very existence. But yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen him in action, and it actually is a factor here. If he can keep that on the board and keep denying Dano that drain, it's going to keep the game a lot closer than it would be otherwise. Harpy, though, big swing factor there. Oof. All right, let's see what Dano does here. Ward Crafter and Cloud Rest. But I think he wants to get rid of that False Incarnate first. No. Okay, he's going to choose Ward Crafter and 4/4. All right, so he's not really necessarily worried about the life gain at this point. With the False Incarnate shackled down, he definitely has the momentum here. Oh, Belly G. I mean, and Kano, fortunately, is going to allow him to go tit for tat. Little bit of taunting from Yoda there, not expecting Kano to ruin the day there. No apologies from Dano. Doesn't need to apologize. He's not sorry. And let's be frank, most of us aren't. Oh no! Triggers a prophecy, and it looks like Dano is going to close this out. I mean, he's only got one. Oh no! No squish the Wimpy, so that's good. Does he? Mentor's Ring. Yeah, he's got it with Mentor's Ring and Mud Crab, if nothing else. Mentor's Ring is +3. That's 5. That's 7. He's got lethal. Just has to hope he avoids the prophecy. Although, yeah, no, he's got to hope. Of course, I'm mistaken. He does not need to do that. Buffs up to 3/3. I mean, it's still risky. A prophecy would still.
It's a good day to die.
Okay, all right. He's able to do it. It didn't allow him to skip the rune, but it certainly let him hit a little bit harder there. I think a prophecy still could. The wrong prophecy still could have been a problem, but he was able to pull it out. Fantastic back and forth, swift victory for Dano. All right, I thought that was going to be the last game, but I just saw this is going to be an NPO friend against friend, heart-wrenching drama here, so I figured we'd go ahead and pick this one up as well, just to see what happens. We are coming in a few turns in. I was about to log off, and Dano was like, "Oh, this is my friend." So we've got McConnell of NPO against Dano. Well, see, now we have a little difference here. We've got McConnell-NPO against Dano.NPO. So there seems to be a little bit of conflict here. I think we can understand why these two are battling it out right now, fiercely at each other's throats. And even though we are 4 turns in, the victor is certainly not apparent. 24-24, it's essentially a zero start game, zero sum. I don't know what I'm saying here. I'm trying to use math, and it doesn't suit me because I'm not great with math. Apparently, he did not get drained this turn. What did he get?
May the fates.
I don't know. It's not regenerate. It's not drain. It's not anything. Jack's dead. It's Jack Schwaaard is what it is. But old Salty's Salt coming down. That is a familiar sight. Elixir. I'm guessing he's taking an elixir.
Nicely done.
And this is great. When you're you guys have seen when I play games, when you're playing against friends, even on the ladder, it's certainly a lot. It takes a lot of the sting out. Defeats are not as bitter. It's hard to be upset when your friend does well. That said, it is going to be a back and forth. I think with Mudcrab Merchant or with the Assault, Dano definitely has the advantage. He can choose to trade however he wants. And with the Elixir, I don't know that he's going to play it, but I mean, it's only a 1 charge per turn. Probably a better use of the Magicka than that. But he has his choice of trades that he wants to make. Everything he has. He probably wants to. I'm guessing he's going to trade the 2-1 into the 4-1. Oh, okay. McConnell is looking at how he can use this 0 cost that he got. Give a creature cover. I'm guessing he's going to give his Cliff Racer cover. Although maybe not, because it will require 2 cards as it stands now to make that trade. Whereas it's only one. Or the Cloud Rest. I think the Cloud Rest is his worst trade-off. 4-1 for the 2-1. And no, he's going to give it to the Cliff Racer. Retroactively, you can always explain or justify or rationalize anything. It's very rarely that you see a top-level player, which, as a member of the NPO clan or guild, I'm sure McConnell is a good player and knows what he's doing. But you see a lot of times in the Masters, they'll say one thing, they'll say, "Oh, I think this is what they're going to do," and then when they do something else, they go, "Oh, yeah, I see why they did that." So it's very rarely that you're going to see something that truly puzzles you and truly makes you go, "Why in the world did you do that?" If you've been watching my games, you might say that. But when you're watching players like this, it's usually just they saw a different line or a different out, or they have a different plan in their mind. And as we've seen also today, typically if there's a misplay, if they do something in the wrong order, they usually will say, "My bad, oops, sorry," or what have you. So if you don't see that, it typically means they did what they meant to do, and it's just something that me as a commentator isn't seeing or isn't aware of or isn't thinking about. Mostly because I don't have the same level of experience. We'll see what McConnell can do here. Oh no, you do not want to see that guy because there are movement. No, okay, he does not have movement. He doesn't have movement. So I might just do the 3-1 and Crushing Blow. Because you don't want to leave the 5-5 on board. You do not. In my estimation, he's got to go. However you do that. No. I was wrong. I can be wrong. Just with the movement possibilities there, you could see him shifting lanes 2 or 3 times before he wrecks. It's I wouldn't say it's a risk. But that's where my an award. That's a pretty big deal against the 5-5. 5-5 is not going to be able to take out anything significant in that lane. And if McConnell doesn't have any kind of lane shift, it's all over. But Dano does have 10, 12, 13 with Encano, I think, and that's the thing too. You got to think bigger picture. I'm thinking narrow. I see that guy. I've been burned by him before, And hey, the prophecies don't hurt. But you get tunnel vision. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us. You get burned by certain cards, you can't hyperfixate on them. Because that's what I do. I go, oh, he has to go. So all I'm doing is thinking about the ways that I can use to get rid of him. Or as you see, what Dano did here. Oh, and then Dune Ripper. Can't say I am sorry to see a movement deck go down, which is exactly what we're going to see here. But, again, Dano's saying, hey, even if he is able to shift 3 times, I've got enough damage on the board, plus 5 for Mancano coming next turn. I don't got to worry about it. And Dano's going to close it out here, giving everything drain. Hit with the 2, hit with the 1, hit with the 7. And the game is done. Well done, Dano. Bittersweet victory. He wins, but he prevails against his compatriot, his guild member. Although, as a .NPO, he has prevailed over the -NPO, so hopefully whatever, inner conflict is circling in their midst, maybe he will prove and say, look, we should all be .NPO, not -NPO. Clearly, this is the superior punctuation to use. So, anywho, we're going to go ahead and cue into, I got to get it ramped up, but we're going to cue into Saint's deck that he sent me on his phone, but I've got to get that ready for you. I will bring it up momentarily. As I said, this is a game that was sent in by Saint. It was taken on his phone, so the resolution is going to be a little bit less. Do not adjust your television sets. For those of you who are old enough to remember what a television set is, the resolution is going to be pretty low. It's probably about 20% of what it is normally. You all can let me know. Some of you watching on phone may not see a heck of a lot of difference. Some of you watching on a bigger screen probably will notice it. But this will let me know if this is really a viable way to get games in the future. My plan, my desire is to be able to get with people so that I can watch, so that I can actually observe and use that footage here. But if this doesn't look too bad to you all, if the resolution is fine, then that opens up another avenue where you can just send in videos that are done on your phone or tablet or computer or what have you, and we can watch them. I am going to be watching this live. I have not seen this game yet. I'm going to be watching it for the first time with you all. So even though it is not technically live, it is live for all intents and purposes. So we're going to go ahead and close out the day with this game from Saint. It is him playing a Guildsworn list. Against a top 10 player. We've got Lion Elm NPO. All right, so this is another NPO person, and this is another Dash NPO. As we know, there is some, well, I don't want to start up any rumors. In my head canon, we've got a fierce inter-guild rivalry between the .NPOs and the Dash NPOs. You got Dan and .NPO, and we had the gentleman that he was playing, which is the Dash. Anyway, focusing on the game here at hand, Lion Elm of Dash NPO against Saint, and not entirely sure what we've got going on. Again, it looks like another, Guildsworn, there's so many variations of really solid mid-range, which is crazy because I felt like Guildsworn was the redheaded stepchild of TESL when it came out. It was like the one that nobody really cared much about. Now it's pretty much the red, green, and yellow. I'm not even going to bother trying to remember what that house is called because hardly anybody plays it. But we're seeing another, what looks like a solid list. Obviously, when you see Fate Weaver in hand, you are thinking, or at least I'm thinking, a Prophecy deck. In fact, Saint has sent me a Prophecy Guildsworn, so this very well could be that build. And the douche coming down to ping the 6-1, take it off the board. And he definitely has a strong advantage coming in the field lane there. Hey, the Prankster Mage. The Cradle Crush is a great solution for that. I'm not sure if that's the route he's going to go. No, okay, he's going to bulk up the Oreo Lover. Interesting. Says that was a mistake. So, not entirely sure what the mistake was. It was a... Oh, I guess he didn't need to do that to take down the guard. He could have... I feel horrible now because Saint was like, hey, I want you to, feel free to make comments and, let me know what you think of the gameplay. And here I am going, I don't know, I look good to me. But it does. I don't know that I saw a gross misplay there.
Let's see if we can
Certainly
find
didn't
something
need
useful.
to. Maybe he could have buffed up the other one. He doesn't need the life gain at the moment. Doesn't matter. The Oreo lever goes away. And he's left with a 4-3 on the board. Opponent does not have. We have not seen a Hand of Dagoth there. So we'll get him down to 15. 2 runes left to break. 6-5. Great card. If Lion does not have a Fell the Mighty or a Harpy, that is really going to strike with some efficacy. And important to note here, this looks like, I guess, it's either a Dagoth control, which, based on the Reclaimer, I don't think that's the case. It just looks like a Dagoth that is on its back foot after kind of a very good opening salvo from Saint. And so we're seeing a little more guarded play, which is to be expected. I mean, I would be doing the same thing, whether I'm aggro deck or mid-range. If I'm down 9 points or so that early in the game, I'm certainly not going to be trying to break runes and enable my opponent to get in further. He is going to ward up the Prankster Mage, which is really quite a bummer, just because it not only denies the breakthrough, but it forces, puts that obstacle in the way. Cradle Crush is the answer for that, though. And of course, if it survives, then you've got Abner Tharn,
Will be all that is needed.
who's going to be able to trigger the effect again. Doesn't look like that's going to be an issue, though. 5-1 trades with a 6-1. Maybe a Lightning Bolt for the 6-4 if he's got it. But right now, obviously, lethal on board, we know. Aside from the Cradle Crush, Abner doesn't have a great target. I mean, Wardcrafter perhaps may be a factor.
Face me, you dog.
We might just see like a Fate Weaver come down here. Okay, Belly G. So yeah, Abner Tharn might come down, use Belly G's own. Well, then you end up with a Belly G volleyball game, which, I've had that before, where one bounces the other one bounces the other one, and you have like three turns where they're just kind of getting bounced back and forth. You probably saw a game, I think it was a day or two ago, where that started to happen, but my opponent was able to get the upper hand on the second bounce, and that was the end of that. Definitely, I think you want to get rid of Belligerent Giant. I would be afraid, just because I've gotten burned by. Triggers of Prophecy. That's fantastic, as long as Lion is not sitting on Unstoppable Rage. I mean, to be fair, I don't know if that kills 7, so that's 4, 8. I mean, obviously he doesn't have the rage, so dodged a bullet there if in fact Lion is actually running that, which, my luck, that's always what happens. Cradle Crush is an asset here. It will kill the Harpy, but it will also get rid of the 2/2, the guard, and allow those 2/3s to go in, barring a Prophecy, of course. Or, what? Well, nope, I was going to say you could also use Abner on the Gatekeeper, but that only buffs him up to a 5. It's just going to be Cradle Crush, wipes out both guards, and allows the 3/3s to hit face and close out the game, I believe. I mean, there's certainly some risk involved. Obviously, there is one Prophecy that could turn things, but Lion has not been able to pivot into a position where he can win if the lethal is able to be denied. Not going to happen, and Saint is going to take the game 1-1. Or, he's rank 1 versus another rank 1. Great game from Saint. Again, your feedback is welcome on that game, particularly about the resolution. If you're going, it really looks bad, then I'll just say, hey, don't submit any games via phone, because I trust me, I'm not hyper. I'm not all about the visuals, but it's very hard to watch a very fuzzy game, which, let me just, as a PSA for everybody, if you haven't seen in the comment section when it's come up at different points, I always upload my videos 1920 by 1080, but there are some times, randomly, it seems, where YouTube takes an extra long time to render out or to process the HD version of it, or HD, as some folks in the UK may say. To get that resolution going. It should take about 2 hours. I usually upload between 6 and 8:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So if you happen to get the video right when it gets uploaded, right in the early morning, you're probably going to have an hour and a half or so before the high resolution kicks in. But after that, if it's 10, 11 o'clock and it's still not high, the high resolution is not there. If you want to flag me, it's been done by a few folks before. Hey, Frank the Tank, I believe, was the last one who let me know and said, hey, the resolution is still crap. And I had to ping YouTube, and I did a little something to try to refresh it, and it looks like it worked within about an hour or so. So anytime you see that, just know the file is coming in HD. It just may be stalled for some reason or not, because, like I said, I've sometimes had hard times when if the resolution on the stream is like a 360 or 420 or something. Depending on how fuzzy it is, depending on how good the games are, or who the person is, it may not be worth it for me to stick with it, because part of it is the visual. You like to see the cards, you like to see the art, and you like to see how everything interacts. So again, you can let me know if you're going, let's try to avoid the phone resolution. But I also want to do it because hopefully, I just got a notice from the post office that the laptop that I have coming in that is going to allow me to do streaming has been mysteriously rerouted to a mysterious different address for mysterious reasons, and it's completely unknown if or when I am actually going to get it. Fortunately, my friend had the foresight to put insurance on it, so worst case scenario, I will at least get my money back for it. But unfortunately, that means it's probably going to be delayed. But I did want to use this to see. I'm just realizing now that you're probably seeing this. I am probably ensconced in the little avatar at the bottom of the screen. That's how I want to move forward. You can give me your feedback on that as well. The only reason why my face is so doggone big on the previous videos is because of the aspect ratio on the iPad. It doesn't translate into 1920 by 1080, so it's been lopped off on the sides. I can't make it any bigger. I'm not cutting out any content. It simply is not there because of the confines of the iPad screen. But with the PC, I will have the full screen that you all are used to seeing on the game, and there's no need for my face to be ginormous. It will be, in theory, what you're seeing now, which is me down here at the bottom. So you're not seeing as much, but really, you're not here for this. You're here for all of that. And so you can give your feedback on that if you want. But like I said, moving forward, that is my plan, and my hope is to just kind of reduce my physical manifestation to this avatar down here so that you all can see the board unobstructed, get the content, get some reactions if you really want to see them, but otherwise you're getting to see the game in its full glory. So I wanted to test that out in addition to seeing how the phone resolution translates for all of you, and just how much of a deterrent that might be in watching games moving forward. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of our players today. I cannot remember all of them. Okay, Fluffy, Dano, Carbon77, Mark, and I'm probably missed one or two, so I shouldn't have even started the list, but whatever, I'm in it anyway. I will thank you in the comment section. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be on this journey with all of you and watching your progress. And until next time, keep playing.